I want you to imagine with me for a moment. Feel free to close your eyes if it helps. It's a dark and stormy evening. Cliche, I know, but stick with me. It's about 9:30 at night. You're out on the street. The lights in the street have gone out. It's raining incredibly heavily. You're down in Deagon, near the Cabbage Tree Creek. You've all been there. Some of you cross it every day, maybe twice a day on your way to work. Cabbage Tree Creek is normally, say, 2 metres below the bridge. Something I've never noticed before in my life, and I've driven over it twice a day for 5 years. It's probably only 8 feet wide. I've never been in it. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but I'd assumed it'd only be about 3 feet deep. Now keep imagining with me, Cabbage Tree Creek is rising and rising and rising. And that bridge that you cross every day to go to work, all of a sudden disappears. Cabbage Tree Creek is no longer under the bridge, it's now above it. Fast forward a little bit and you see traffic keeps going. Some people make it, 3 or 4 cars don't. People jump out of their cars and run away. Keeps rising and rising. And then those cars' electricals get fried as the creek hits their batteries. Alarms go off. Lights are flashing. Windscreen wipers are going to and fro. As I said, it's 9:30 at night. It's raining. All of a sudden, these cars are getting hit by so much water moving down Cabbage Tree Creek, they get pushed up against the edge of the bridge. You never thought in your life that you would see a scene like this outside of somewhere like Brisbane River. And all of a sudden, you see a man, ankle deep in water, dressed, as I am now, in a business suit, without the jacket. He has a leather satchel over his shoulder. You assume there's a laptop in there or something like that. He's just striding out into Cabbage Tree Creek. He's on the middle of the road, walking north towards KFC, Red Rooster. You would imagine he's somewhere near the bridge now and it's up to his knees. He gets deeper and deeper, he doesn't stop. Gets up to his waist. And he starts crossing these cars that are pushed to the side of the road. And all of a sudden, he stops. Is he out of breath? Has he changed his mind? What brought this man to this point? Optimism. He thought he could make it. Optimism and a lot of stupidity. And you might ask, well, what led this man to this situation? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you. So 2 weeks ago, on Friday, it was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I had the opportunity to leave work early. I've been looking at the Bureau of Meteorology website and TransLink all day, checking on trains and the weather. Optimistic that there'd be a break in the rain at some point so I could get my walk up towards Bowen Hills Station done relatively dry. But that wasn't to be. So I left my office and hit the first snag. There, in what is normally a street, is now a river. And I just jumped in. It's a foot deep. I got my shoes wet. I was optimistic that I'd be home in about an hour. I kept going and walk up Bowen Hills, walk up to the train station. Haven't heard any difference, so I'm optimistic the train is running. And it is, and I get on. It's so wet, there is so much rain, that the people standing under the awning on the train station are getting more wet by the rain hitting the train and splashing onto them than the people that are just standing out in the middle of the rain. Then all of a sudden, waiting for the doors to close in the customary 30 seconds that they usually close in, and we hit our second snag. The conductor, excuse me, all northbound trains have been suspended, please exit the carriage. Groans, bit of laughter. I knew this was going to happen. My boss wouldn't let me leave work. I'm not coming in Monday, you know, that sort of stuff. So we all get out off the train, all getting wet. But I was optimistic. It's only 4 o'clock. I might have to catch a bus, but I'll be home in, you know, enough time to have dinner with my family and maybe watch a movie with my wife. So I hop on the bus, heading towards Toombul. And we get about 3/4 of the way there and we hit gridlock traffic. It's a funny thing about an event like this in that it brings society together. You have this, you're all equal in the eyes of the storm. You all have to face it together. You're on this bus, and for the first time ever, in the entire time I've been catching buses in Brisbane City, everyone on the bus is talking. You're having a conversation with someone 4 rows in front of you, but everyone in between you is joining in on the conversation. Got to pick up the kids from the daycare before I get home. Well, I'm not even going to be able to get home and get dinner ready. Ha ha ha, how far do you have to go? Oh, I have twice as far as you. Everyone's trying to one-up each other in how far they've got to go to get home. So I get to Eagle Junction and it's deadlocked. And I'm lucky, there's an optimistic guy at the front that says, I have a car at the train station. I live not far from here, but I'm happy to drop anyone as far as Sandgate. Does anyone want to ride? Well, I'm optimistic. I'd like to get home and see my family. So I hop in this car. He says he's got a shortcut. We'll go down Shore Road. We'll probably be able to beat Shore Creek. Now, Shore Creek, again, like, I've never paid too much attention to it, but like Cabbage Tree Creek, I assume it's maybe normally 3 feet wide, a foot deep. It's now 100 metres wide. It looks like Brisbane River and the water is moving like you wouldn't believe. There's roughly 50 cars parked along the side of the road that are now all destroyed, if not washed away. It takes us 40 minutes to get there. It takes us an hour and 40 minutes to get back to Eagle Junction Station. So I've now been in this car with a complete stranger for 2 hours and 20 minutes. We're best friends by now, but that's okay. We're both optimistic that we're not serial killers or anything like that. So we keep going. I get back, it's now 7:30 and I'm like, I'm sorry, thanks for the offer, I'm going to walk. I'm optimistic I could make it home walking. So I start walking, I get up to Hamilton Road, on Sandgate Road, turn off there to go to Chermside Shopping Centre. There's a police car parked in the middle of the road. It says, whoa, do you live near here? Optimistically, yes. Says, well, just to let you know, Virginia's flooded. I'm like, how is this possible? I try my luck. So I walk through Virginia, some parts getting up to my knees. I come up to Nudgee Village, or Nudgee College, and again, traffic is just backed up. It is not moving. But I'm optimistic, I'm feeling positive, I'm almost home. I can smell pea and ham soup, maybe a loaf of bread, baguette, maybe, you know, fun movies playing on TV. So I quicken my pace, I get down to Cabbage Tree Creek, and it's like an apocalypse movie. It's like a zombie movie. People have literally got out of their cars and just walked off. There are cars sitting there with the water lapping up against their tyres facing Cabbage Tree Creek. There's probably, again, 50 cars in North Boondall train station that are all written off, up to the windscreens in water. I've never seen rain or water like that in my life. There's about 20 of us standing on the concrete median under the arterial gateway that's about this high, and the water's lapping up about here. And we all get up to see how far we can get, to just have a sticky beak and see how flooded the creek is. And that's when this optimistic guy has had enough. He's been travelling for 6 hours. He just wants to get home. He's not that stupid though. He did see someone walking the other direction. And he asks him, he says, hey, how hard is it? He said, well, if you're fit, you'll make it. Well, I'm optimistic. Pretty fit. It's about 6 inches taller than the guy as well, so I thought, well, this couldn't be too hard. So I get about halfway, and that's when I realised I'd miscalculated, and not only was it probably 40 metres further than I thought it was, I'm now walking against the flow of the water. And every single step this deep is just draining my energy. It's washing away my energy like the rainwater that's going out into Moreton Bay. So all I want is this. Learn from other people's mistakes. I made it, clearly, I'm here today. I was optimistic, and optimism is good. Humanity's achieved a lot of things through optimism. But optimism paints the world in an unrealistic light. We see things that aren't there. We see opportunities that aren't necessarily there. All I'm saying is curb your optimism with a bit of sensibility and don't be stupid like I was. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.